time I did a proper what's in my pack and base weight video. It's only going to be brief. We did one at the start of this hike, and Anita's just here. Say hi. And it went for like an hour. We did it in a hotel room, and we ended up deleting it because it was just way too long. So I'm going to do a really quick version. I'll start off with the pack. This is the Z-Packs Arc Hole 60 in the new Ultra 200 and 100 fabric. So it's most ultralight packs now are made out of DCF, which is what our tent is made out of, otherwise known as Dyneema. This stuff's apparently a little bit lighter, more like 7 times more abrasion resistant and 3 times more puncture resistant. That could be the other way around. Google anything if you have questions, and I will put up my lighter pack link somewhere along here. I'll try and work out how to do it so you can just tap it, but if not, you might just have to sketch down the last 5 digits. So with the pack, I did a bit of modification straight away. There was a trampoline style harness in here, stitched on by a bunch of little tri-glides and webbing, and it also had an adjustment. So 2 little patches of cordura with like a little pulley system, which this slid up and down if you wanted to adjust the size. I didn't want any of that. It already had these carbon stays which are pre-shaped, so I didn't even need the trampoline system, so I cut all of that out. Ended up being about 560 grams, including all of these pockets that Anita and I made. So going through what's in the front of my pack. This is a Sunglass Pocket. So we just bought some of this, what is it, like lycra mesh, like some sort of heavy duty lycra mesh, and stitched these little pockets. They're actually sleeves that go right over the whole strap. Z-Packs don't really do any nice integrated pockets. You can buy additional pockets, but they're quite bulky. So we made these ones. I've got a little lip gloss one here that also doubles as a place I put snacks. I usually put them here as well if I'm wearing my glasses, which is 90% of the time while we're hiking. On this side I have my headphone pocket. Again, these are mostly in my ears, but as soon as they're not, I try and put them in there. These are little Bluetooth ones by Jaybird. They're called the Tara Pro. Mostly I took these because they weren't individual headphones, because I didn't want to lose one. And also the battery on this lasts about 14 hours, and it's all in here. So it's not one of the 2 separate headphones that you put into a little box to recharge every 3 or 4 hours. This is in one hit. I can get 14 hours of battery life out of this, and the little plug is very minimal as well. So that's really handy, and they fit in my ears really, really well and don't fall out, ever, even when I'm sweating. So, got lip gloss, headphones, yeah. Also, this one we made specifically, now that I'm getting older, I have to wear glasses to read things. So they go in the front, and the camera that I'm filming in is a Pixel 5. It was one of the lighter handsets that was sort of still a flagship handset. It's about 150 grams. I'll try and give weights when I can remember them, but please Google. So the camera goes in here. These actually are bespoke cases we made from an old Z-Packs Dyneema food bag, and so we've got one of these each on our packs that we made specifically for our phones, so they fit in really nicely. And we stitch little mesh covers on the front. So on the top, I have this piece of 3mm foam. If you're into gear, Gossamer Gear do these. We just got it from an industrial store out on the outskirts of Burleigh Heads, actually, in Australia, for about $8 a piece. It's 3mm by 50 by 150, so that's folded up. It's a really good sit pad, so you can just pull it out at any point. It lives on the top of my pack. It's really easy to access, and you can just sit on that. It's very comfortable. You can stretch it out and have it lie down in the middle of the day, or put your gear on it to organize it. Pretty much everywhere is really dusty, so we like to spread this out, but especially this is useful under our Thermorest inflatable pads, because they, well, mine particularly is particularly delicate, so it's had a few holes. Some of them caused from me, some of them caused from manufacturing, but that's about 60 grams for 150, so about 5 feet by 50 centimeters, which is 1.5 feet. On the sides, And all of this stuff is in the lighter pack as well, by the way, everything in empty. So these little smart bottles with a sport cap, and pretty much everyone uses some sort of Sawyer filter on trail. What you do is you fill this bottle, plug it into that, and very conveniently these sport caps fit really snugly. Squeeze this out and filtered water comes into this one and you drink out of one of these. Often we have 4 litre water carriers, unfortunately, so there are 2 of these at each side. The one with the blue is the one I have as always clean, so often I'm carrying 3 litres of unfiltered and 1 litre of filtered, just because I'm lazy. Sometimes I don't need to filter everything before I get to camp. Sometimes we get to a water cache when I can actually just empty clean filtered water into a water bottle. So Anita's a bit different. She likes to filter everything on the spot, but that's up to her. So in the front, peaked baseball cap. It's just a really lightweight cap. I have a couple of what Americans call Diddy Bags. This one's just got a bit of first aid. It's actually very light at the moment because I'm not using much of what's in here, so I've gotten rid of a bit of it, but there's bandages, what else? Head net, some hardcore sleeping tablets, little baskets for the poles when I'm in the snow. Mostly this is just a repair kit for the tent and the mattress and any clothing that we tear. There's some needle and thread and some dedicated Dyneema tape and also some sort of thick plastic tape that you can put on anything to patch it. In this one, this is the bag I use the most, so it's full of mostly Nurofen, or what Americans would call ibuprofen. I've got a little pill bag here with all of the fancy fun pills. So there's some blue kind of Panadol / sleeping tablets. The red ones are ibuprofen. There's some anti-allergy tablets, and what are the big ones? Magnesium and calcium. There's a little disposable razor. This is full of tape for my feet, which are, touch wood, going well at the moment. There's a little tube of Leukotape and my battery. It's a little 10,000 milliamp, which is about 150 grams. This little guy is the headphone recharger I talked about. And I've got a little tiny cable that's just being charging at the moment, and a charging brick. The brick that goes into the wall is about 30 grams, and I've got a little USB cable which is about 10 grams. Little toilet bag. We've got a little bit of soap in here, toothpaste, some toothpaste tablets, and some toilet paper, as well as a little bidet, travel bidet. This plugs into the water bottle. It's just a little blue spout, so you can squirt water at your butt just after you've pooped. So I try not to use the toilet paper. It's there for emergencies. Mostly it's there for blowing my nose at the moment because it's just been so dry and arid that everyone's just been getting blood noses. I haven't been, but I'm getting a very cloggy nose, so it's good for the morning. Pegs for the tent. It's about 60 grams worth of tent pegs. They're little titanium shepherd hooks from Z-Packs, the smallest ones. Night Core MU25, really standard headlamp, a little rechargeable one. It's very cute. Again, most people do the little elastic cord thing. I think they're 28 grams. Tiny little thing of sunscreen and little microfiber towel. We're seemingly finding these in hiker boxes, which is just a lot of very popular hiker post offices or cafes or hotels will have a box out the front where hikers can leave stuff and take stuff, which we've done both of. When you've got too much, you leave it there. When you've got stuff you don't need to carry, that sort of thing. And equally, when you come into town, you might poke through a hiker box and find something like that Leukotape that I found before, one of the pegs. Yeah. The other thing is, this is some bear bag hanging DCF rope. So it's a very, very strong rope. There's about 50 feet of that here. It's about 30 grams, I think. Inside the pack, I think I said, yeah, the pack's about 560 grams. So this is my food bag, which I think is around 50 or 60 grams for the bag. Still got food at the moment in it, so I won't show you that, but inside I do have a little Cedar Summit spoon, which I think, again, from memory, you can check on the lighter pack, is about 16 grams. And the pot that I'm using is just a little one that I bought online. I think it's about 90 grams. The brand is Lixada, so I think this was just from AliExpress. Equally, which is very popular on trail for people who are using stoves. A lot of people will just cold soak. They'll just have a little clear plastic container they put food in, put water in, let it soak for a couple of hours before eating it. We like to have hot meals, so bought this little stove, which is only 25 grams and about $25, and it's a little titanium stove called the BRS 3000. Very light, about an ounce if you're American. Pretty much one of the lightest stoves you can get, and it screws onto a fuel canister, which I have run out of at the moment, but empty canister weight is included in the lighter pack, which is about 90 grams. So I'll put that away. So I keep that in here with just a little piece of aluminium foil I use for a lid, and a little bit of dishwashing cloth just to pick up the stove or this handle when it's hot. And of course the standard little mini Bic lighter to light it up. Next thing is getting rid of this food bag. So I still got a bit of food in it from the upcoming hike resupply, but yeah, pretty big bag. It takes about 6 days worth of food pretty easily. And I'll be hanging that by that rope in addition to having a bare barrel for when I'm in the Sierras and places it's compulsory to have a bare barrel. I've got a clothing bag next. This is a bunch of stuff in it. I'll go through that in a second. These are Enlightened equipment, torrid pants. It's like a fake installation. These are about 160 grams. Also have basically the matching torrid jacket, which is about 220, maybe 250 grams as well. That's the main insulation layer. And then from my tent, you've seen this in videos many times. This is the Z-Packs triplet. So it's a 3-person tent, although it's not really a 3-person. It fits our 2 extra large Thermorest Neo Air Light mattresses pretty much next to each other with maybe 5 inches of spare space. So if you had a couple of standard width 20-inch mats, they'd probably fit 3, but we use 25-inch wide mats, so they only fit 2. That's a nice cozy tent for 2 people. Single wall, essentially it's like a giant tarp with a bug mesh stitched into it. That's 700 grams as it is there. We got the slightly heavier fabric in the dirt color, which is kind of like a, what did we decide it was? Like a sherbet orange. Yeah. It's not a bad looking tent, so 700 grams for that. I carry the tent all the time in the stove, so all of that's included in my base weight, even though Anita's in it. Basically everything's in my base weight. So, and the last thing in the pack is my, well, last 2 things, my sleep system essentially. So I do carry the Thermorest Inflator Bag because I hate blowing up air mattresses, and up until now at least we've had 2 air mattresses to blow up. So it's just much easier to use this. It also protects the sleeping bag a bit. I think it's about 70 grams, it's not light, but it just makes life a lot easier. Using a Z-Packs Solo Quilt. This is now rated to about 20 Fahrenheit, which is about -10. I did get a 30 Fahrenheit, which is about 0. It was nowhere near warm enough at 0 degrees because, of course, that's their rating is their survival rating. So I emailed them and got them to send me 120 grams or about 4 ounces worth of down just in the box. And their instructions were to basically slash the bottom of the baffle, which I've done, stuff the down in, and seal it with this little self-adhesive 7 denier nylon tape. So this thing is around, now that I've boosted it to 20 Fahrenheit, 550 grams I think. But again, check the lighter pack link. And lastly, second lastly, I have a little inflatable pillow, Cedar Summit Eros Deluxe. It's pretty good. I've actually stitched a little strap to it to retain it to the mat, which has been very handy. I would do that on every other pillow. Stole that idea from another brand. It's just a little inflatable pillow. I kind of hated it at the start, and I just thought I'm going to have to get used to it, which I have, and probably 2 or 3 nights out of 4, it's fine. Maybe once every 3 or 4 nights I get a headache from it. Wakes me up in the middle of the night because it's basically like a little hard brick with a bit of padding on top. It's not bad. I think it's about 80 grams. Finally, I'm using the Uber-Lite Thermorest. This is the one that's had a few problems, especially around the valve. I've had to patch around the valve because of a manufacturing defect. Cascade Designs, who stock who support these in America, say they're 10 months behind in assessing warranty. So even though they've assured me it's basically a warranty, they said keep using the mattress as long as it lasts and see how you go. So it's got a few holes around the valve, but I patched those up. It's got one hole in the main body that was my fault, but I patched that really easily. This is 350 grams, so it's the lightest inflatable mattress you can get for an extra large, which is 25 inches wide by, I think, 6'2" or about 185 centimeters. So that's actually surprisingly comfortable. Anita has the same thing in the warmer. This is, I think, about a 2.3 R rating, so it's also their least warm mat, most suited for summer. Hers is about a 4.3 rating, so it's about double as warm. And that's about it, other than the clothing bag. So we kind of went crazy with Enlightened equipment. We went crazy with Z-Packs for all of the hardware, and Enlightened equipment for most of the soft goods. We have a Z-Packs waterproof pants that I think are around 90 grams. These things are amazing. They're so light and comfortable. They don't even feel like waterproof pants. The fabric is really soft, ridiculously light. We bought them because a lot of people were carrying wind pants, which is just a nylon pant, which weren't much lighter than this, maybe 20 grams lighter, but not waterproof. So we thought it was a bit of a no-brainer to get some full-length waterproof pants, windproof of course. They're fantastic. Really surprised by those. I wear those on washing days, usually with this sleep singlet. And it's really comfy. I roll them up. They look like a pair of black denim shorts when they're rolled up. It's pretty interesting. This, by the way, is just a Patagonia, their lightest weight. Was a long sleeve, but they don't do a t-shirt or a tank at the moment, so I cut the sleeves off. I think it's about 70 grams. I also have this Enlightened Equipment Visp jacket. Again, anyone who knows gear will know this jacket. It's similar to the pants, very similar fabric, essentially a Gore-Tex rip-off, but this one is a lot more breathable. So we went for the lightest of both options. The Enlightened Equipment pants were a bit heavier than the Z-Packs, so we bought the Z-Packs. The jacket was a bit lighter than the Z-Packs jacket, so we bought the Enlightened Equipment jacket. I think from memory, around 150 grams. Crazy light. Really nice layer to put on when it's windy over the top of like just a fleece jacket. So I have some Patagonia lightweight tights. They've got like this micro grid sort of fleeciness, so that's what I sleep in. And probably would hike in the morning if it was really cold. It hasn't been that cold yet. I generally just put the Gore-Tex pants over my shorts because they're the first layer to come off once I warm up in the morning. This layer has been really nice. Sort of bought it mostly as a sleep layer and a first thing in the morning layer. It's a brand called OMM. I think it's called Original Mountain Marathon. It's a UK brand. But it's this really crazy alpha fleece. This is only 4 ounces or 120 grams, which is crazy light, really, really comfortable. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I would. It is falling apart because it's just so light. Getting a lot of pulls and things in it. The sleeves are starting to get a bit raw, but that's what you get for something so light. I By the way, this Dyneema bag I think is about 30 grams. It's my clothing bag. I've also got Enlightened equipment gloves, which I haven't worn outside yet, but I actually started to wear them on the sort of the 0-degree nights and colder inside the sleeping bag. They really make a difference, just having insulated, like a full insulated layer. So I wear the pants, the jacket, and these, and a beanie on my head. It's pretty crazy. That's the beanie, just a little 30 gram, basically just under an ounce fleece beanie that I wear to sleep, and also it doubles as an eye mask. So I just pull it down like that and use it as an eye mask as well if I'm just listening to my headphones at night. Just seals the noise in a bit better if somebody's snoring nearby in a tent. I've got some slightly fluffier, warmer socks. These are a brand called Features, F-E-E-T-U-R-E-S. Apparently it's the most common trail running sock in America. They're pretty nice and soft. They're just an acrylic, cool matte sort of sock. And Anita gave me a pair of her toe socks, Injinji toe socks. So I've been kind of wearing those and alternating them with just a couple of Injinji liner socks. So all of that, again, is on the lighter pack. I think maybe these needed to be added, but I have actually taken these off recently because they got a hole in them, so they're being retired. And that is all I can think of, other than the winter stuff. So we've been posting ahead some winter stuff which we haven't needed yet. First thing is the lightest ice axe in the world, which we possibly will never actually use, which is unfortunate. This thing's like 185 grams. It's only available in a 50 centimeter, so it's not super long. It's really just an emergency self-arrest tool. This might get used in the Sierra. Anita's will never get used now because she's not continuing on, so she'll probably try and sell that or return it. If I don't use this, I'll do the same thing, but it's a really nice piece of gear. Very, very fun, very, very light. It's about the same weight as your mobile phone. It's crazy light. We also have, well, currently I'm using these Hoca Speed Goat shoes. I've actually got two pairs, that's why there's two different colors. I posted a pair ahead to this town, so I'm going to put one pair in a box or send them ahead, or Anita's going to take them. And they're in the winter paired up with these little guys, which are also, I think, from memory, 185 grams. These are the Nortec Trail 2.1 microspikes. So they're kind of like a tiny little crampon that just stretches around your shoe. Haven't needed those yet. Thankfully, when I did Baden Powell, I had the new Hoca shoes, so they were nice and fresh and they weren't worn down at all, so they worked really well in snow. And the only other thing left is this around 90 gram pair of waterproof socks, which I did carry for a little while at the start. I've taken out of my pack now. I might use them for the Sierras, but it's looking like a very dry, low snow year. And I didn't actually wear these in the snow at all when I went through the San Jacinto Mountains and didn't need them. Got my feet kind of wet in the liner socks, but they dried out really fast, which I was impressed about. The only time I've worn those is in the sleeping bag when it's been particularly cold. And they actually work quite well as like a vapor barrier. But so I might carry those. I probably will carry those for the Sierras, but then not again. So they're actually in my additional lighter pack list that I won't link. But again, 90 grams. I think the axe and these and the gaiters are only adding about 300 grams, less than a pound, to what my lighter pack list is. Actually, the other thing that I didn't have on that lighter pack list was the insulated pants, which I think were about 150 grams. So my base weight is around 9 pounds, a bit over 9.5 or 4.3 kilos, I think. So 10 pounds or 4.5 kilos roughly is considered ultralight. Even though we've got backpacks that actually have a carbon frame and a hip belt, that's quite rare for people who go ultralight. Often they just use a pack that doesn't have a hip belt at all, is a little bit smaller. But I've asked a few people who have that setup and their base weight actually ends up being heavier. So this way, this pack is so light that it allows you to carry a lot of weight. And sometimes we're carrying, 4 kilos of food and 4 kilos of water in addition to your, for me, 4 kilo base weight. That's the worst case scenario, but you know, I might be carrying 12 kilos, and that really wants to be worn for me on my hips, like done up tightly around my hips, so I'm not feeling on my shoulders. So much better off for us having a pack that we can both wear on our hips. Anita particularly hates having any load on her shoulders, so she really locks it off on her hips and actually has the shoulders pretty much hovering, which works really well for her. And you can only do that with a framed pack with a hip up. So I think that's about it. Anything you want to add? Oh, last thing is I did buy some hiking poles. Very last thing. These are from Gossamer Gear. They're 139 grams each, really light. They are useful, well, they're required for our tent. So while Anita was hiking with me, we would use her poles. These are about $200 US. They're not cheap, but they're 300 grams less, $290 for the pair. But the tent requires them, so now that I'll be by myself, I'm carrying these. But when I was doing 40k days, they were essential. You know, you start to get sloppy with your feet, and I got a lot of blisters, so they're almost more like crutches. But of course, they set the tent up as well. Okay, that was just a quick, hopefully quick video of everything that's in my pack. Again, I'll put the lighter link somewhere down here, lighter pack link, and see you next video. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.